First, they let Will Wade come to Raleigh. Second, they let him get hot in the portal. And third, they might just let him get comfortable. Will Wade, the American gangster, kicking his feet up.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. You might be looking at basketball tickets here coming up in just under a month. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at Gametime today for $20 off your first purchase. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Happy Tuesday to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, we've spent some time talking about Cloer in the last couple weeks. On Saturday, he made it official at a public event ran by IPS. Cloer is an NC State Wolfpacker. We talked about the importance of keeping a kid that in-state, or at least grew up in-state. He now plays high school basketball in Florida, but grew up an NC State fan. How often have we talked about these high-level recruits, not just in basketball, but football too? They're within the state, and you got Clemson come over and pick your pockets. You got Tennessee come over and pick your pockets. You got Duke and Carolina pick your pockets. You got Kansas or Kentucky come into Raleigh and pick your pockets. We finally, after years of waiting, have the guy to prevent that from happening. And now that we have Cloer, if you set an example and you win this year and you attract more close local talent, it only goes up from there. The American gangster, like I said, don't let him get hot.
You know what they said Americans were doing to pick pockets overseas during the Olympics? Well, we got the American gangster. Try picking his pocket. See how that works out for you.
Try it.
You know, I'm excited about Cloer because this man, he can shoot the blood out of the basketball, okay? And this is a guy that, you know, right now, super, as a knockdown guy, I have no doubt day one he can come in and fill that role. I'm interested to see how his handle develops and how he develops as a playmaker and potentially a defender as well. But I know from day one, you can run a set where you say, hey, leave him in the corner. And if they collapse here, he'll be wide open. Kick it out to Cole. Cole, you know what to do at that point. You've been doing it all your life, brother. Go ahead and give us three the easy way. Cloer is a heck of a basketball player. And mind you, when I say I'm interested to see how his handle and all that develop, not to say he doesn't have it, not to say that he can't make plays off the dribble. I'm saying I want to see what he looks like potentially year 2, year 3 of, he's really got the goods and he's really getting better and better and developing in a meaningful way. I'm super excited about this. And again, like I said, Americans don't let you pick their pocket in general, but the American gangster, oh boy, I dare these schools to think to themselves, oh yeah, we're going to get the top talent and NC State's going to be left with the scraps. We're going to get whatever we want and NC State's going to be left with being one big man going down away from a very bad situation. Not anymore. Not under Will Wade.
I remember after Will Wade came on and then Andrew Slater came on officially very shortly after that, our favorite Twitter follow, Trilly Donovan, had tweeted, or maybe it was on a message board of some sort, but basically said the two of them together, he can't wait to see whose day they ruin first. And I think by now it's probably happened on a couple different occasions. For NC State to beat out Florida, who's the reigning national champion, they beat out UConn, who's recently won 2 national championships in the last couple years. They beat out Alabama, who's a rising tide, pun intended, in the SEC basketball world. They're going to be a mainstay very deep in the tournament. And then, of course, you beat the local Dirty Foot Club. I can't tell you how many times I've seen over the last couple months, Cloer, that's a UNC lock. That's a Tar Heel. How do I tell you he's coming to Chapel Hill? Yikes. He didn't go to Chapel Hill. In fact, he went down the street to a program that is on the rise almost immediately. In just 6 months, Will Wade is at the helm, and these level of talented kids, they're taking interest. They want to know what Will Wade's trying to build in Raleigh because Cloer, he won't be the last. In fact, there could be more on the way in the next couple months. We'll see how that turns out. But Cloer is a top 30 high school basketball player in the country. He's a dead-eye shooter, 6'7" small forward. He can play a little bit of everything as well. He's extremely versatile. This is the type of basketball player that we have lacked at NC State for years. For years. A kid that grew up a Wolfpacker, can you imagine the pride he now feels being committed to the team that he grew up pulling for, maybe reaching heights that they haven't seen as long as he's been alive and then some? Him and his family have to be overjoyed with how this is lined up. Will Wade is now his head coach in the next couple of years. What a time to be alive.
And don't worry, we're already workshopping nicknames here for Cole Cloer. You know, we're starting off early with Ice Cold. Get it? Instead of Ice Cold, Ice Cold is what we're working on. Because what's cooler than cool, Grayson? Ice cold. You know, it's there. So we're working on it. We're workshopping the names here. But in all seriousness, I'm excited about what Will Wade has done. The momentum is building. I mean, this is a situation where this is more excitement than most people have seen about NC State basketball in their lifetime. And then here's the best part about it. We're being set up for future success. It's not just about this season, and this season is all that matters. It's the future being plotted for and planned for as well, which is a great indicator because everybody else, you know how it is, Grayson. When you get the baddie, everybody got something to say. Everybody, she's only with you because you're on the team. She's only with you because you got a good job or you drive a nice car. And he's just like, maybe I'm just funny. Maybe she just like me. You know what I mean? Maybe, hey, I got the sauce and you don't, son. I'm so ice up, son. Ice up. You know, you got to have that type of moment. And guess what? Will Wade seems happy in Raleigh, and Raleigh seems happy to have Will Wade. I don't know. You know, all this speculation. I vividly remember, despite what was the most insider information possible that Grayson and I gave y'all early, national folks said, oh, Will Wade's out on NC State. Texas is involved. Oh, buckle your seatbelts. Oil money's coming. That's interesting, Grayson. That's interesting. Did the Longhorns nail? Did they get Will Wade?
They did not.
They did not. Okay. He's our coach. So he's setting us up for the future. I'm all the way in. I'm ready for the reckoning. I am ready with arms wide open. We are sitting here waiting for all of the greatness that is coming to NC State basketball, for us to be renewed, for the sleeping giant to wake up and get rolling. And it's time.
Cole Cloer now joins Trayvon Carter-Givens as the second commitment for the 2026 class, now ranked 12th in the entire country for 2026 recruiting classes. And if they're not done, perchance, if they're not done, you could be looking at a top 10, possibly top 5 class in the country. And he's only been here for what? 6 months? 7 months? Dreams can be accomplished with Will Wade here in Raleigh. One last thing here before we move on. One of the things that gave me the actual chills, like goosebumps the other day, listening to Will Wade speak to the media, he said that he has everything he needs. The financial backing was there. The fan support was there. The players that they got in the portal, they have them. He said that he has everything he needs to be successful, and if that doesn't happen, then that is on him. That level of accountability in a coach is something we have not seen in a very long time. And that's why very early on, I drew those comparisons to Jimmy Valvano. He knows that he can be successful at NC State. Dreams can be dreamt and accomplished at NC State, and he feels like he has everything he needs. Like, think about that for a second. How long have we felt behind the 8 ball in terms of Duke and the Dirty Foot Club and the Blue Bloods? Will Wade comes to NC State, and in just 6 months' time, he says he has everything he needs to get the job done and accomplish their goals this year. If that doesn't give you chills, don't even bother showing up to the Lenny on November the 3rd. There's a reckoning coming. You can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. I cannot wait to get this season tipped off. Coming up next, we're getting into a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of something. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Tuesday sponsor is PrizePicks. Every day, we all make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections like Josh Allen's passing yards, Saquon Barkley's rushing yards, and just like that, you're in the game. It's also fun to follow some of your other friends or other players in the app and copy their lineups with just one click. And there's a new injury reboot feature. If your player leaves early and doesn't return, then it won't count against you. How about that? Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. Using code LOCKEDONCollege, that's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, you can get $50 in lineups after you place just your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Middle portion of our Tuesday show. Now time for a whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something. 3 topics. We'll tell you exactly where we stand on them. First one here, we'll stick with basketball. John Rothstein was at the NC State practice earlier in the week. He says that Paul McNeil has been one of the most impressive players that he's seen for NC State basketball over the course of the offseason. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. I remember saying Paul McNeil had the goods, and it, for whatever reason, it just was not clicking last year. But that was just a very bad, no good year overall. Like everything that could go wrong kind of did go wrong last year. But boy, we heard all off season, oh, he's hitting them from deep. Oh, he's knocking them down. And now all of a sudden we got outside sources confirming what we've been hearing from the people close to the program. I'm going to tell you, Grayson, it's hard to not think things. It's hard to not get excited. It's hard to not. November 3rd, inject it into my veins. And don't check me into rehab when I get addicted. No, but seriously, whole lot of something in my book.
All things considered, it is kind of wild that one of the most impressive players that is a player that's left over from the Keats era, Paul McNeil. And we've heard not just from Rothstein, but several other sources that Paul McNeil has been absolutely lighting it up from downtown over the course of the offseason. I believe there's a stat, I can't remember the exact number, but they tracked all the shooting from all of their players over the summer. And Paul McNeil led them in three-point shooting by like an absolute landslide. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was close to like 50% overall for the entire offseason. 50% from downtown. Now, I'm not saying he's going to shoot close to that during the season. I mean, nobody would complain if he does. But if Paul McNeil does have a breakout year, that can only do incredible things to the ceiling of year one for Will Wade. So most certainly a whole lot of something. Second one here. Obviously, we know that Notre Dame will be the opponent on Saturday. NC State football is moving into the second half of their season. 4 of their final 6 games will be against ranked opponents. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. That is an absolutely brutal back half. It's a brutal back stretch. But who cares? It is what it is. It takes what it takes. If you want to be a good team, a special team, you have to go out there, show up, and win some of these games. You just got to do it. You got to do it. Now, if you're okay with being you're okay with being middle of the road, you're okay with being we win sometimes, we lose sometimes, we don't really have control, then go out there and do your best and keep it pushing. But it's a whole lot of something that you have this many ranked teams on the back end of the schedule.
Now, the two of us and everyone else, we're looking at this as a whole lot of something. But the team in the locker room, they should view this as a whole lot of nothing. It doesn't matter who you place in front of them. NC State's got to play NC State football to the best of their ability. And if that is the case, then they can play with anyone in the country. Sounds crazy, but it's true. We've seen the offensive firepower to put up the numbers. That includes against Notre Dame, against Miami, against Florida State, XYZ. If Hollywood Smothers plays up to par, if CJ Bailey plays up to par, the offensive line shows up, they can put up the offensive numbers to compete. So for the team, this should be a whole lot of nothing. So the rest of us, looks like a gauntlet to me. Whole lot of something. We'll say both. Whole lot of nothing and a whole lot of something. Last one here. Hollywood Smothers, after 6 weeks of play, ranks second in the entire country in rushing yards, 693. Whole lot of nothing, whole lot of something.
Whole lot of something. And I want you to imagine this. I'm willing to bet my right arm that there is nobody on that list above him that had a game of 6 or less touches this year. I mean, the young man is just phenomenal. And by the way, in that 6-touch game, we've already talked about what he's done in terms of 150 yards and 2 tutties. He's, people keep talking about who are we going to retain for next season? Who are we going to retain for next season? Hollywood is unretainable because he will be in the NFL. He is going to be playing for somebody's NFL franchise. Hopefully the Detroit Lions, but, wishful thinking, I guess. But no, seriously, he's going to be in the NFL next year. That's what we're going to get from Hollywood, okay? He is just so spectacular, man. He's awesome. The kid's just awesome. It's hard to describe how good he is. And then ACC running back of the week, right? All of his touches were for at least 7 or 8 yards. Most of them, he had an average yard per touch of like 15 or something like that. And what does he tweet about after the game? My teammate just got his first 100-yard rushing game and multiple touchdowns. Man, whole lot of something. Bump that Sosa Vandross.
And you are correct. So the only running back that is ahead of Hollywood is Ahmad Hardy of Mizzou. He has not had a single game with less than 10 touches. In fact, it's been 10, then 25, 22, 22, and 24. So Hollywood is even getting it done on slightly less of a workload than Ahmad Hardy of Mizzou. Outstanding. There's not much more we can possibly say about Hollywood Smothers. That is how much he has meant to this team so far through half of a season. We saw this in the early stages of 2024, that he was going to be one of the most talented players on our team. The bursts of explosion were undeniable. When you get him into open space, you wind him up and just let him go. Magic happens. Fast forwarding to this year, he's one of the most explosive backs, not just in the ACC, but in the entire country, and he's one of ours. And then to Kenton's point, just extending that a little further, he's a great person. Like, what more could you possibly want in a star football player for the NC State Wolf? He takes care of his. He's a great teammate on and off the field. Just an outstanding ambassador for NC State. We're very lucky to have him with us in Raleigh. Most certainly a whole lot of something. And then coming up next, we're going to round out our Tuesday show talking about this monstrous spread that awaits us on Saturday. Can NC State cover? Can they possibly win? More on this after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Tuesday sponsor is Gametime. College football is back, and we simply could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just simply nothing like it. But let's be real. Sometimes actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. There's endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping off at checkout. That's why you need to use Gametime. It's the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with zero surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, and again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. And our third Tuesday sponsor is Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood. These are the places that become an extension of the home. Whether it's the sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base or the spot with the best wings in town for game day, these are the businesses that bring people together. And when the neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. Take, for example, Oakwood Pizza Box in downtown Raleigh. Some of the best pizza you can find within our great city of Raleigh. The staff is phenomenal. Sometimes they even feel like family. And it's a place that the community around us can feel united in. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go out and support your neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square. See you in the neighborhood. Last couple minutes of our Tuesday show. Obviously, we have Notre Dame ahead of us on Saturday. Much more chatter about that the rest of the week. We'll cover this on Wednesday. We have a Locked On crossover episode for you on Thursday with Tyler Wojak of Locked On Irish, so be sure to be tuned in for that one as well. But this spread, we have got to talk about this spread. NC State is a 22.5-point underdog on the road in South Bend. I'm not exactly surprised. That's a really big number, Kenton.
That's a almost FCS against a Power 4 type spread there. I mean, that is an absolutely insane spread. And the crazy part is I'm not 100% sure we cover. I don't feel 100% confident that we cover. I believe we do, but that's not the same as the way I was just like, I'm sure that the guy ahead of Hollywood, I know as sure as the sun rises on the east and sets on the west. I hadn't looked at the young man ahead of Hollywood stats, but I knew there was no games where he had 6 touches. This one, I'm nowhere near that confident in saying we cover this spread, but that is a massive spread. If I'm Coach Doran, that's enough to feel disrespected to the level where it's like, all right, let's get it together. We can't play around like this because this is crazy.
And this will be very clearly a tale of what do you get from the NC State defense. If they can show up and make something out of this opponent, then maybe you can cover the spread. Now, my earliest of inclinations here, I think that your only real chance to cover the spread is in garbage time in the fourth quarter. I have a bad feeling about this game. I think many of us would agree on that. Notre Dame is a very talented team. Even though they got off to an 0-2 start, they're at the point now where they have no choice but to win out. And so that type of urgency, you're probably going to feel it from the opening kickoff. 22.5-point spread. I don't know, man. Jeremiah Love, I think, is one of the best running backs in the country. Even though his numbers don't really pop off the page to you, he can just do a little bit of everything. He had 4 touchdowns, I think, 2 weeks ago against Arkansas. Jadarian Price behind him is almost as dynamic of a running back as Jeremiah Love is. That 1-2 punch, I know we talk a lot about Hollywood and Duke Scott in the ACC. Love and Price, they might be the best 1-2 punch like in the country. So NC State's run defense, as many struggles as they've been having recently, I don't know. I don't know about this spread. Now, what I will tell you, and Kenton's already hinted about this already, take a look at that over-under. 60.5. In fact, some of you may have already seen it at 59.5. To the two of us, that looks low. Yeah. And so if I were going to make a singular pick in this game, I'd be looking at hitting the over on this one. We know, because of our defense, Notre Dame's going to score. Whether it's by air or on the ground, Notre Dame will score. So can NC State score? I think that is the million-dollar question here. Can you keep up with them somewhat for 2 quarters, 3 quarters, maybe the whole game? If that is the case, they're going to absolutely obliterate this mark of 60.5. What are your thoughts, Kenton?
Yeah, I agree 1,000% that they're going to obliterate the under-over. But, Grayson, I disagree with you on how they cover the spread. I don't think they get a bad beats cover at the back end of the fourth quarter. I think this is going to be C.J. Bailey and Notre Dame's running game going band for band. I think this is going to be, basically them having battle wars in the club, saying like, hey, I got more money than you. No, I got more money than you, back and forth. And I think ultimately the way that NC State covers is not it's not that you're going to stop this team. It's that you're going to score so much that they may get a couple stops here and there. You get an opportunistic stop or two, and next thing you know, you end up losing by about 14 or so. So I think that they cover in that way, maybe even 17 or maybe even 20, because 20 still covers 21.5 or 22.5. So I think they covered that. But that over-under, now that one, my friends, that is where I'm going to tell you, take that money and run. That is, FanDuel is giving it out. They don't know what they're doing. This sports book just giving it out. You got to take it. You've got to take it, ladies and gentlemen. This one here, again, stay away from that. And again, always bet responsibly, people. I'm going to call you a degenerate because I'm not doing any betting. But that over-under, that's looking like good oxtails. That's looking like good neck bones. That's looking like, that's looking like that good cornbread, Grayson. The cornbread that got the honey butter glaze over the top. It's looking like that to me. That's how that's looking.
She's just giving it out. No, 60.5. It feels pretty low for this. In fact, I don't want to be totally pessimistic here, but Notre Dame has the firepower to potentially hit that like by themselves. In fact, I think they hit 59 in back-to-back weeks not that long ago against Purdue and then against Arkansas. Can the NC State defense show some form of life to prevent that from happening? I think that will also be a massive indicator in this one. I don't necessarily disagree that C.J. Bailey and Hollywood Smokes from the offense can keep up with them for the game. It's just that I have not seen much or anything at all from the NC State defense that would tell me that we can keep up in a track meet. And I say that to say, everyone knows what I've been saying for months now, that NC State's entire season is going to be filled with shootouts. We're talking old school Big 12, 45-42. You could potentially see a game like that one, but also relies on CJ playing perhaps the game of his life, or Hollywood perhaps playing the game of his life. It's possible they can absolutely compete. Notre Dame, in fact, has already lost a shootout with Texas A&M, so the formula is there. If you can get into a track meet, perhaps you got a shot. Here's
my thing. Marcel Reed threw for his most yards of the season against Notre Dame.
And he's not a great passer. You're right.
I'm telling you, I see this spread being covered easily. I can see that that's not that much of a problem for me. I believe that they will, actually. I believe that we do cover this spread. The money line, hey, stop that. Stop that. And
wager at your own risk on that one.
And if Grayson and I are right about how prolific this offense will be, there will be an edit. There will be, and it will be from my personal page, because we may get a call if it was from the pod page, but there will be an edit. But this over-under, if you look at our under-over against Power 4 teams, we are 3-1. 3-1 against the over-under. And we're looking at an offense that's put up 59 points multiple times. And we're looking at a secondary that allowed Marcel Reed to throw for more yards than he's thrown for against any other team this year. I am telling you right now, this over-under, that's easy money. That's easy. That's good eats.
That will do it for us here on Tuesday. As always, thank you all so much for joining us. Be sure to hit that like button, drop your comments in the comment box, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. Notre Dame talk will take up the remainder of this Wednesday. We'll dive into their offense and defense. Thursday, we have the crossover show. And, of course, Friday, we'll have our picks and our predictions. That'll do it for us here on Tuesday. We'll see y'all tomorrow on Wednesday. And until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.